I came to see Dr. Dan because I had been suffering for over 4 decades with horrific, what I called sinus headaches. I had been purchasing 1,000 quantity bottles of ibuprofen and 2 boxes of sinus headache medication at a time on a regular basis, and was getting shots 3 times a week from an allergist, and nothing was happening. So I saw a friend of mine who had a very bad back, who couldn't bend over and put his shoes on. After 6 to 8 weeks coming to Dr. Dan, he was able to bend over, not only put his shoes on, but he could tie them as well. So even though I swore I would never go to a chiropractor, I thought, wow, this is in my face, I need to check it out. So that's why I came. That was about 2 years ago, and my life has changed forever as a result of that. He found 2 subluxations, one in my neck and one in my back. And at that point, in a normal situation, I would have not even known what a subluxation was, but because the office staff from the very first visit educated me as to what the appropriate terminology was, what it meant, what caused these things, that when I did sit down and talk to Dr. Dan, there was no fear or scariness about it because I had been educated about what chiropractic really was. And so Dr. Dan put up a set of perfect x-rays of a neck and a back, and then he put up my x-rays of my neck and back right next to it, and I was shocked. I couldn't believe that my neck and my back were almost fusing together because they were so misaligned. And with Dr. Dan's help and a commitment to myself to come on a regular basis, my headaches are 90% reduced. And when I do have one, like this morning, I came in this morning with a splitting headache, and I laid on the table and said, Dr. Dan, he goes, I can tell. And he's put his magical hands right on my neck, and he touched immediately where it was and adjusted me. And by the time I had gotten to Waters and Dale Mabry, my headache was gone. And that's the experience that I keep having with Dr. Dan. Certain exercises that initially I would come into the office, and before my visit I would come into the exercise room and do exercises for my neck and my back. That in conjunction with changing my eating habits and drinking more water, which Dr. Dan can tell immediately, and exercise, which he can tell when I'm not doing immediately. And I asked him, I said, Dr. Dan, he goes, you're not exercising lately, are you? And I go, how can you tell? And he goes, I'm your chiropractor. And I mean, he can just touch your body and he knows what your problems are. It's not just about coming in and getting adjusted. It's about a better lifestyle. I just can't move out of the area because I don't know what I would do without Dr. Dan in my life. I'll be an old lady and they'll be wheeling me in a chair, and Dr. Dan will still be adjusting me because I'm not going back to the way I was.